a few years back, I read in the paper that you were making a movie with Colin Farrell.
Yes, I did.
The young actor Colin Farrell. And I think during the course of this film, you were celebrating your 70th birthday.
Most actors, if you're doing scenes together, you know, people ring you up and say, you know, because you arrive on the set together, you maybe don't know each other. They mostly ring up and say, would you like a drink? I mean, that's par for the course. Yeah. And we'd actually done the first one-day shoot, and then he called up and said that night, would you like to come down and have a drink?
Just an evening get together after the film, yeah.
Yeah, sure. And I thought, yeah, that's good, because we've got to work together for another 2 weeks. So I went down and had a drink, and I was fine. And then I said, I was going up to run, and he said, I've got the number, I'll see you in 10 minutes. And I said, oh, yeah.
So now, hold on, this is a great thing, though. So you're 69?
Yeah.
And he's, what, 28 or something like that?
Yeah.
And
he was
saying,
28 at the end of the week.
I'm coming up.
Yeah.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
So he thought, give her a couple of drinks, get her primed, bing, bang on the door.
Yeah.
So, and did he come
I just
up?
thought, joke.
And he came up and knocked on the door?
Yeah, and I was in a really awful old night dress with a hole in it.
Well, you weren't expecting a gentleman caller.
I'd taken every speck of makeup off. And all I could think of was, oh, those bloody maids, I suppose they think they've forgotten to put the chocolate on the pillow. And I opened the door, and there he was.
He pushed you in the room?
Yeah.
Was he a bit swaggy? I bet he was.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, women
came for
like
loving.
That.
Did he say anything like that? Here come the leprechaun. What did he say when he came in?
He's just full of blarney. And he's enchanting.
So
I just kept saying no for long enough to keep him in the wrong.
I'm sorry to dwell on this, but this is remarkable technique the man has it. So he came in, you got your nightie on, he knows you're not up for action, you got your makeup off, but he persisted.
Oh, yeah.
What did he say?
I was reading a book. He said to me, I said, look, I want to read my book. And he said, I'll read it to you.
Oh, he knows what he's doing.
He really does.
I'll read a bit, then maybe a neck massage. We all know what he's thinking. And then you said, what did you say to that?
And I said, OK then. Will you go after you've read? I'll go after it, yeah. And then
but you know he was thinking he had a foot in the door there.
Yeah, he was. And then he'd get up and talk, and then he'd suddenly talk about Oliver Stone. He was terribly interesting. He's a terribly interesting guy.
But he's a very talented man. He's a very bright
man.
He's
so talented. You see, when we were chatting, and then he'd lift up the...
He lift up?
He'd lift up the cover and try and get in bed.
He tried to get into your bed?
I said, Colin, this is really...
Hold on. So you're just sitting and he's going, oh, just settle down now. He's climbing into the bed. What a cheeky scam.
He's just... Did he
have all his clothes on when he tried to get in the bed?
Look, I don't know how I held that up, but I did.
I bet he ripped his shoes and socks off.
I can't remember.
But that's marvellous action. And presumably, how long did it take you to get him out of the room?
Well, I enjoyed getting him out of the room for about an hour.
That's so lovely. So you enjoyed the company briefly?
Yeah, I enjoyed the whole thing. He came to see me on Broadway in a play I was in. He really is a smashing chap.
Can I just ask you, and please, if this is out of line, this question, you just tell me, but if he'd have given you a bit more preparation time, if he'd have maybe had a slightly saucier nightie with you, would you have allowed him to slip into?
No, I honestly think I'm like the general public. It really does make them... I mean, I got awful things said about me in the papers. I never meant it to come out. I didn't think they could find out who I was talking about. Before I got home, there were newspaper people outside my,
I bet Colin Farrell went home and there were a lot of 70-year-olds waiting outside with their keys.